Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and I wanted to do sort of a separate little recording to kind of add on to the interview that I'm about to show you. And the reason I'm doing this is because there was some audio issues with the interview that I did, and I didn't want anybody to miss it. I just thought it was so amazing. The person that I had a chance to speak with, her name is Senator Georgia Powers. She's out of Kentucky, and she's actually from my hometown of Louisville, Kentucky, and Senator Powers is a powerhouse. I mean, this woman is 90 years old, and she's still marching, still fighting, still speaking on behalf of black people. She has been doing this. She was born in 1923. She joined the legislature in the 60s when she was already in her 40s. And since that time, and even before, she's been fighting consistently for fair housing for black people, for voting rights for black people, fighting against discrimination. She has done an amazing job, and to see somebody at the age of 90 really pushing and kicking and going as hard as she's going, it's unbelievable to me because it reminds us that, you know, no matter what age you are, you're just beginning the battle. There's a whole lot more you can do. You can always push a little bit harder, really push the envelope. And so normally when the audio is that bad, and again, it was bad because I think that because she didn't have a mic on her end, and I didn't want to force her as far as getting a mic and the headphones and all that. There was an echo, so I have to, to have some of that taken out. But I wanted to kind of talk personally to let you know the reason I didn't, just sort of can it or throw it away was because I just felt that everybody needs to hear from this woman. She is amazing, absolutely amazing. And, and I can just tell you that what I loved about what she said that I thought was just extraordinary, and I mentioned this a little bit in the conversation, is she talked about black people helping each other. She talked about those who are successful reaching back. And I think that's something that we've lost. I think somehow we believe that it's okay to get your money, get your success, get your fame, and forget about everybody else. And I think that's a bunch of crap. That's wrong. And anybody who thinks that way, you're going to have an issue with me. And I think that anybody who agrees with what I'm saying right now, you need to let people know. Like, look, if we weren't given so much by people before us, like Senator Powers, we wouldn't be where we are right now. So the idea that you would have the audacity to forget about the next generation and to not care about your people is atrocious and insulting. I also like the fact that she is fighting for felons' voting rights. In the state of Kentucky, 1 in 17 Kentuckians can't vote because there are so many people that have been incarcerated, and we know that the prison system has a direct link to slavery. We know that the 13th Amendment does not abolish slavery entirely. Actually, it says that slavery is still legal if you've been convicted of a felony, and so therefore, we have a country where slavery still exists, and slavery is the loophole that keeps people from being allowed to vote. So I admire and I salute Senator Powers for what she's doing. I think that she's a remarkable woman, and I want you to know about this woman. So that's why I'm bringing her to you and Your Black World. And once again, if I haven't said it recently, I'm gonna say it again. Thank you so much for those who support us. I love you. I love you. I love you, and I'll say that until the day I die. I am so appreciative because without you, I'm nothing. I'm nothing, and I'm living the dream. I get a chance to be a scholar and to teach my people every day. And I think the internet is the greatest and biggest classroom in human history, and that's one of the reasons why I embrace the internet and social media in the way that I have. It's far better than being in a classroom talking to 30 kids. Talking to 300,000 people in a day is far better than talking to 30 people. So anyway, that's about it, and I just want to say thank you so much. And once again, I love you, and the interview with Senator Powers should come on right after I hang up. So
yes, we're commemorating 50 years of a march that we did in 1964, advocating public accommodations. In 1964, Dr. King was the speaker, and so was Jackie Robinson. And there were over 10,000 people in attendance. However, the bill did not pass in 64. It passed in 66, and it became the Kentucky Civil Rights Act. And of course, I didn't get elected to the Kentucky Senate until 1967. And I had never stepped my foot in the Senate chamber, however. And when I was sworn in January of 1968, I was the most surprised person in the world to look around and face 37 white men. No women, no African Americans. So my thought was, What have I done? But I'm here now and I'm on a mission because I have been leading marches for the past couple of years prior to that, and I didn't see us accomplishing much. And I wanted to be in a position to make policy. And I thought this was the right position. And evidently it was because I won the primary and I won the general election. And the first year I was there, I became chair of Health and Welfare Committee for 6 years. And then for the last 10 years, I chaired the Labor and Industry Committee. And by chairing those committees, it gave me a lot of power because to influence votes. Because I had the power to bring up the others' bills at my choice, and very often I used that as a leverage to see how they were going to vote on my legislation. So that was how I was able to get so much legislation and bills passed, enacted in the Senate. I passed many bills. I was an advocate for women, for African Americans, for children, for the disabled, and those without a voice. They called me the conscience of the Senate. So they always expected bills from me that affected other people.
Wow. Well, that's extraordinary. So, you know, a lot of people, when they hit the age of 90, they're not still marching and pushing and fighting. What gives you the energy to keep fighting, you know, at the age of 90? I mean, I think that is so remarkable.
You know, people mention my age quite a bit. I am 90. However, often I wonder how I got to be 90. Well, I got to be 90 one day at a time. And I'm the same person internally that I was 50 years ago. You know, of course, age has its effect on you, but fortunately I've been healthy and able, and I'm selective in what I do now. I have published 3 books, and I'm working on several now.
Really? Several books?
Oh, yeah. Yes. My 1995, I shared the dream. New Horizon was the publisher. And then I published second book, The Adventures of the Book of Revelation. And the third book was a biography of my aunt, whose name was Celia, and acquired property in Kentucky in 1902 from her former owners, like 800 and some acres of land in Kentucky, with all the house and everything that went with it. And I knew her. She was born in 1859. She died in 1940. 1940 was the year I graduated from high school, so I was able to attend her funeral. But having visited her in the summer months at her farm, I came to know her. So then I wrote a book about her. And now I'm working on several books. One book I just completed a manuscript. One block that I lived in between 32nd and 34th on Grand Avenue in Louisville. And of course, Muhammad Ali's home place was 2 doors from my family place. So I knew him when he was 5 years old.
So you knew Muhammad Ali? You were friends with him when you were a young woman?
Oh, yeah. Yes, he and his brother. And whenever I see him, I don't care if there are 1,000 people, he comes directly to me, and he'll say to me, I love you because you were so good to us when we were little boys. And I was, because I gave them cookies and candy, and they lived next door to my brother. And Ali was my brother's babysitter. So we know the family very well. But I've done a manuscript on every household in that one block, because when I was growing up, there were 13 teachers in one block because we were restricted as African Americans where we could live. and there were three doctors, a medical doctor, dentist, and a PhD. Blacksmiths lived in the block, many postal workers, and so those were the people who influenced me, because very often, as a little girl, 19 years old, I was standing on the sidewalk. These men would drive by in these big cars and well dressed. Some of them were smoking cigars and hats on. And I was impressed by the men who had the power, I thought. So my mother often told me to act like a lady. She always wanted me to act, because I was raised with 8 brothers and no sisters and a father in the home. So I was used to men. So I was not intimidated by men when I went to the Senate, because all my life I'd been around men. So that's the reason I think I was successful during my Senate years, 21 years.
Wow. Well, that is a remarkable story. And, let me ask you this. So if anybody lives in the state of Kentucky is watching this and they want to support your march and be there to help out, what can they do to show support and respect for what you're achieving right now?
Right now, in Kentucky, what we need people in the districts of senators to go to their senator and ask them to recede from the substitute of House Bill 70, which was the automatic voting rights for felons. And we do not want that. And I'm going to tell people when I speak on Wednesday that if you go to your senator or your representative and if they do not vote for the things that are going to help you and your people, then vote them out. Vote for their opposition, regardless who the opposition is. And there are felons almost, I would guarantee you, in every family in Kentucky, they would have a felon or felons in their family. And those felons need to organize their families to go to their legislators to see if they vote to help them to get automatic voting in Kentucky. So that's what I'm going to talk about on Wednesday. I'm giving an address Wednesday morning. As a matter of fact, I'm the only organizer who's still living from the march in 50 years ago, and that's amazing to me. The other organizers are, the principal organizer for that march 50 years ago was the editor of the Louisville Defender, which is an African-American newspaper in Kentucky. And he's the one who got me involved in what we named Allied Organizations for Civil Rights. And the synonym was AOCR. And with AOCR, we were able to get people from all walks of life to become involved. As a matter of fact, the chairman of AOCR was a white Presbyterian minister. Our treasurer was a white treasurer in the city of Louisville. And we had many white people who were involved because they wanted to see that we had public accommodations. And all my life I have known that there has been a difference in the races. When I was 8 years old, a little white girl lived across the street from me. We played together, but we couldn't go to school together. And I knew there was something wrong with that picture. So I thought then, and I knew it was about race. And so, and I had several incidents in my life that caused me to be so strongly opposed to inequality and discrimination. I was 15 when I got a job at a 5-a-dime store on the main street, a little counter that only sold hot dogs and root beer. And when they hired me, they told me, you can sell to colored people, but they can't stand at the counter. And I thought, well, that was strange because I'm not going to tell anybody if they pay the same price that they can't stand and eat. So, more or less, to make a long story short, I got fired from the job. So that made me really want to make changes between the races. And then also, as I was growing up, my dad, my dad was an enameler at Standard Sanitary, and that was, quote, a white man's job. So we were always able to live comfortably, but 5 years after he was on the job, one of his coworkers saw him with my mother, who was brown skinned, and us little brown skinned kids in the car, and he went back and he organized against working with my dad because he had this African American family. So the president of the company called the enamelers together, and he told them that he had heard the rumor that what they were trying to do. Said, now those who are willing to work with Ben Montgomery stand on the right, and those of you who don't want to work with him stand on the left and pick up your paycheck today. And I have often told that story. I've worked under 5 governors. I've told each one of those governors, I said, if you're a leader, you make the right decision and the people will follow. And that's what happened in that case. So that's been one of the things that I have just stuck with, that if you're a leader, you make the decision. And then another thing, too, that I am strongly in favor of, if you are in a position of power, and I don't care where it is, and you're African American, you need to reach out and help those who are less fortunate than you. You got to reach out and help them because they may not be in the same position you're in. But if you're in a position of power in any way, it is mandatory, as far as I'm concerned, that you reach out and help others.
Wow, that is amazing, ma'am. I am humbled and honored to get a chance to listen to you, and I'm very proud of the fact that you're from my hometown of Louisville, Kentucky. I mean, that really means so much to me, and and I support what you're doing. I love what you're fighting for. I love the fact that what you said about leading, about people, doing what's right in a position of power. I love that about African Americans helping each other. And I love what you said about helping felons vote. I think that's so important. So I want to say thank you so much for sharing that story, ma'am.
That's our main effort this week coming, is to provide voting rights for felons, particularly those who have served their time and paid their restitution. So there's no reason they shouldn't vote. It makes me think when they are denied, when there were times when in the South, when they had the poll tax and other means to keep African Americans from voting. And the whole country is just turning around on this voting situation. So often, and so many of the states are trying to deter minorities from voting. So we've got to rise up and fight this thing because we just can't let it happen.
Yes, ma'am. Well, with people like you out there fighting, we can't lose, and you give me so much courage and inspiration. And I'm 42 years old, so you pretty much told me what I need to be doing for the next 48 years because you showed me what's possible. So I want to say thank you so much, and God bless you, Senator Powers. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, ma'am. And sorry, what was that?
I tell everybody, I say, God made a beautiful life for me. It's because of Him. Because I've been in a tornado, I've been in a fire, been in a flood and an earthquake. and I'm still here.
Yes, you are. And you. It sounds like you are an earthquake for anybody who gets in your way.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right,
I hope it goes well.
Well, God bless you, and take care, Senator Powers. I appreciate your time.
All right. I hope to see you Wednesday.
Well, I can't make it on Wednesday, but I'm going to support you from here. When I do come to Kentucky, I would like to come see you, and I know people who are in touch with you, and I would actually like to meet in person. I really admire you so much.
Well, thank you. All you have to do is call me.
Yes, ma'am.